personnel. We have resignations listed there. Need a motion to approve those resignations.
Second.
Mrs. Allen? Aye. Mr. Martin?
Aye.
Mr. Lucas?
Aye.
Mr. Cronin?
Aye.
Mr. Jennings?
Aye.
Mr. Satori?
We did get a letter from Mr. Reynolds.
Leaves of absence listed as listed. I need a motion to approve those leaves of absence.
So moved.
Second. What's up with you guys? You're killing it.
Mr. Martin?
Aye.
Mr. Lucas?
Aye.
Mrs. Allen? Aye. Mr. Cronin?
Aye.
Mr. Jennings?
Aye.
Mr. Satori?
Motion carried. We have listed employment. Need a motion to approve those appointments.
So moved.
Mr. Lucas?
Aye.
Mrs. Allen? Aye. Mr. Martin?
Aye.
Mr. Cronin?
Aye.
Mr. Jennings?
Aye.
Mr. Satori?
Motion carried. Need a motion to approve the 2015 levy.
So moved.
Second. Discussion.
So, we had the public hearing. I received no comments or questions from the public prior to this meeting, and no one came to speak here. We are, just as we first talked about in October, and then brought back to you last month in the proposed levy. We are recommending that you adopt a levy of $19,987,000 in the various funds that you can see in the report. It does represent, I believe, about a 16.67% increase overall when you include the bond and interest levy. So we did have to comply with the truth in taxation notice. This is not an ideal levy because it does increase the amount of property taxes beyond what normal inflation would normally do. However, it does address the situation in the tort fund by eliminating it. It's projected to eliminate our tort fund deficit in about 2 years. So we should be able to lower the tort levy once that deficit is gone a few years from now, once that's made up. So I'd be happy to answer any questions over that. Otherwise, I look for your approval.
Questions, comments?
Mr. Lucas?
Aye.
Mr. Cronin?
Aye.
Mrs. Allen? Aye. Mr. Martin?
No.
Mr. Jennings?
No.
Mr. Satori?
Aye. Motion carried. Next is the lunchroom recess monitors positions.
Yes. As I brought to you last month, I did bring tonight for action the approval of 12 positions, 3 at each of our elementary schools. These would be, we're projecting them to be about 3 hours a day. They would be part of the MESP association covered under the cafeteria worker. So the hourly rate would be dictated by that contract. So this, we project this to be just under $35,000 for the remainder of the year. That was if these people were actually able to start on January 5th when the students come back. Unlikely that we will actually be able to interview post-hire by then. I did receive a request to try to identify a place where we could lower the budget to account for this. For the remainder of this year, I was able to isolate a transportation architectural services that we had budgeted $40,000. So we will eliminate that. So that will cover us for the end of this year. However, as we prepare for next year's budget to encompass an entire year of these positions, I will identify the other half of that as we prepare for next year's budget. So this would allow us to greatly increase the amount of adult supervision that's happening in our elementary cafeterias, especially now that we have kindergartners eating lunch as well, and recess supervision during those times. And hopefully it will help us get the principals out of the lunchrooms to where they can get back out in the classrooms during those times rather than just always feeling the need to be in the cafeteria helping to manage that process. So I believe the job description was attached for your review as it was in November. But again, we look for your approval of these positions. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. The reason that you want to hire these lunchroom monitors is to take the workload off the principals, their teachers. Does that have anything to do with the evaluation system that we're enacting that they have to do?
It's not directly related to just the evaluation system. You know, our principals are highly educated and highly, you know, competent people that I would like to be able to spend more of their time out observing classrooms and just helping to lead the instruction that's going on in their buildings. It is true that the state mandated evaluation system and the model that's been adopted here in Minooka does require a great deal of observation and reflection and conferencing with the professional employees, you know, over their practice. However, that's not directly related to what we're trying to accomplish here.
It almost sounds like an unfunded mandate here.
Uh,
The state laws.
That would not be an unfair assessment. It is a good evaluation model. You know, mandating that people engage in professional conversations about teaching and about what's happening in classrooms is a good thing. However, the number of observations and the paperwork requirement that goes along with that evaluation system is very time consuming, and many districts have increased administration to account for the amount of evaluations that have to take place. But that's not a directly, it's not a direct correlation to what we're trying to do here with lunchroom hours.
It seems that they're talking, you said maybe in a year or two, that the money will be there. We'd rather have efficient for it, find the money to support it. That's almost like all they can hear. The million dollars that we had, and now we're supposed to get, the state's going to point up the money from now on to support it. Let's hope it's true. Because, see, we get hit with an increase on the levy right now, it's going to stop.
Anyone else?
We want to make sure that we are, in fact, the principals are going to be helped about rather than majority of their time in lunchrooms, those right now.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree. If this doesn't change practice or doesn't it change what's happening in the schools, we'd have to address it in a different way.
Mr. Martin?
Aye.
Mr. Lucas?
Aye.
Mrs. Allen? Aye. Mr. Cronin?
Aye.
Mr. Jevons?
No.
Mr. Satori?
Aye, motion carried. Approval of board doc subscription software. Second.
Sure. And I've actually got one more little demo here for everyone tonight. We are bringing to you the recommendation to approve a subscription with Board Docs, and it would be their Board Docs Lite or LT product. There is a more robust Pro version that many districts have engaged in, but we believe that the Lite version will completely meet our needs. It's really a board management software. It allows you to electronically archive all of your meetings. It allows you to click, you know, between meetings, between minutes, and it actually helps with the flow of the meeting as well. So they did create, it's December 16th. This is obviously from last year though, since it says a Tuesday here, but when you click into meetings, this will allow us to have our entire board packet online prior to the meeting. The public will be able to see everything that's not considered executive content as soon as we post the agenda. You know, there will be some electronic training for Lori to work through so that she can kind of guide through the meeting as it's happening. But each board member and each member of the public would be able to click through any of these reports, see all of the administrative recommendations, see all of the any attachments and all of that. And it really just helps the flow. It helps us as people submit documents to us to get into the board packet, and then really helps the archiving and for public access to documents after the meeting or prior to. So I don't want to take all the time to completely click through each of these, but simply with a mouse click, You can, access any of these. You can jump to and fro if something's happened in the meeting and you wanted to go reference something that might have happened a few meetings before. You've got that at your fingertips. And the public access is another big bonus here. $3,000. There is a $1,000 basically implementation fee, but the annual fee for this is $3,000. That's why I eliminated a $40,000 line item in the budget to cover 35 of lunchroom monitors and also account for what we're asking to do with board times. This subscription would be for a full year though, so this would cover us for 12 months, not just the end of this fiscal year.
Mr. Martin?
Aye.
Mr. Cronin?
Aye.
Mrs. Allen? Aye. Mr. Lucas?
Aye.
Mr. Jevons?
Aye.
Mr. Satori?
Aye, motion carried. And need a motion to just destroy the closed session recordings from December of 2013.
So moved.
Mr. Martin?
Aye.
Mrs. Allen? Aye. Mr. Lucas?
Aye.
Mr. Cronin?
Aye.
Mr. Jevons?
Aye.
Mr. Satori?
Aye, motion carried.
Since I spoke so much last time, I'll make it very quick. Number one, if you are available January 4th, you look at the agenda for the various activities that we have. We certainly welcome you to come and attend. PE, for the first time in 19 years, we're going to have a PE presenter, and they're going to be actively involved. The next generation science, the teachers will be doing actual experiments, just as you did tonight. We have a lot of very good workshops set up for the teachers to be involved. And the only other thing I wanted to share with you is that in February, Mr. Martin and I will be presenting at the Title I workshop in Chicago, a couple of workshops. One is on close reading and the other will be on best practices in assessments and grading. So that'll be in Chicago with probably 4,000 or 5,000 other people. So we're looking forward to that again. And otherwise, unless you have questions, you did see the evaluation tool, great stuff. This is what the joint committee did put together, the actual evaluation portion of it, which is the blue or yellow and the red is the Charlotte Danielson verbiage. We really weren't allowed to change that at all. But one of the things, all our teachers, we've talked about this, and the committee has talked about it, we've talked about it, review with teachers. But in our February in-service, this will be one of the sessions that the teachers will go to so that everybody will have a copy of this before it's actually required to be implemented starting 2016 and 2017. So next year, this year, we're practicing again. And that's all I have.
All right. First, you'll notice at your place, you had a holiday card, Christmas card from STR. We received these on Monday, and we found out that we had quite a few winners of this award. So we didn't have enough time to invite them to, be recognized tonight. We will invite the students in January if they would like to come. But we have, let's see, we had a gold winner, Mackenzie King, a silver winner, Mia DeKinga, special recognition of Taylor Knudsen and Lakin Theme. And I may be slaughtering some of those names, so I apologize. Other silver winners, Iman Al-Hanawi and Landon Vasilescu, and another special recognition winner of California Cedro, or Kedro. So congratulations to all those students, and we will see if they are available in January to come and be recognized by the board. Other brief updates, as I informed you in an email, we did reach a tentative agreement with the Educational Support Professionals Association. The timelines for ratification and finalizing the document were just too close in December, so nothing was accomplished there, but we believe that they plan to take that to their membership sometime in early or mid-January, with the hope that the board could also ratify the contract in January. I will give you details later tonight in executive session. District music programs I put on there. I had a chance last week for quite a few nights in a row to stop by all of the various music programs that are going on in our district. And just what a great job our music teachers and the administration and all of the teachers that go and support each one of those. So kudos to our entire staff that are involved in putting those on. Especially, you got to hear one piece from the band tonight, but that band concert last week was absolutely terrific. They do such a nice job. So congratulations to all, and thanks for sharing the holiday cheer with the community. I did get to be at the Grundy County Economic Development Project Area meeting. I was sitting next to Mr. Sartorius. One interesting, last year, that it kind of functions as a TIF, that if certain conditions are met, they distribute a surplus. Last year, they distributed about $60,000 to the taxing bodies in that area. This year, they're projecting to distribute $600,000. So we got about 30% of it last year, so we budgeted about $20,000, and it looks like if their projections hold through, we could almost see $180,000. So that was quite good news that morning that we were sitting through that. So that's a good revenue update. That is the only good revenue update. Also, state funding. We still have yet to receive these categoricals that were vouchered by the state on September 30th. So we are now into our third month of lag. They had been doing quite a decent job of improving their delay in getting districts money, but with the ongoing budget impasse, cash flow is obviously one of the sacrifices that's being made at the state. So general state aid continues to come in like clockwork twice a month, and it's the amount that they did allocate to us, so no further proration has happened. But we have not yet seen any other significant state funding come in other than general state aid. Last thing I had on here was qualified school construction bonds. You may have seen in some of the literature that you get from either the School Boards Association or any other educational publication you read. The state board authorized, I believe it was $500 million of qualified school construction bonds, which is a very low interest or no interest type of debt that can be issued for various types of school construction projects. And I did briefly talk with the Finance Committee that about all that we have that would be eligible right now would be some of the life safety projects that are going to be coming down the pike. However, we have a decent fund balance in our life safety fund, along with a continual levy in the life safety fund. So even though we now have access through the application process to possibly get some very low interest debt, I just didn't feel that bringing any further debt to the board when it looks like we already have revenue streams available was justified. So you may hear about a lot of districts looking into these bonds. We've analyzed it, and they would be terrific if we had a need to issue debt for that. I just don't see that as a feasible thing for us to bring to the board right now. So the last thing I wanted to make sure I mentioned here was I had emailed to the board that I was offered a second year of teaching at Aurora University. In the first version of the agenda, that made it on to the consent agenda, and then in one of our iterations, it dropped off. So I do still plan to take that course unless the board wants to take action to tell me no. Most people seem to indicate they did not have a problem with me teaching the facilities course in their doctoral program, but I apologize that didn't make it on the consent agenda. It is listed in your action report that you can see in the back. But, and then you have the other routine updates. So I'd be happy to answer any questions on the topics I brought up. But other than that, happy holidays, Merry Christmas to all, and thank you for yet another evening of your time in service to this community.
Anybody else got?
We do have a brief closed session to discuss collective bargaining. There's no action as a result of it.